How to register on eToro step by step. First of all, here we are on the website. Remember, I'll leave the link in the video description so you can come and register. And once you're here, you can change the language if you want, because maybe you don't understand English very well, or maybe it loaded in another language. So you choose Spanish. And over here, it will finish loading for you. Once we're here, we're going to start registering. Click where it says join eToro, or it might be that the page I give you looks a bit different and says sign up. I'll try to leave you this exact page so you can access it. So click on join eToro, or I'll directly leave you the link to the registration form so you can sign up. Once you're here, we can start the registration process. First, we need our email address, a username, and a password. So we will begin by entering an email address, which can be a Gmail, Hotmail, or any other email service you might prefer. So let's enter it here. I'm going to use an email address I have and enter it here. Done. Now, for the username, this can really be whatever you want. Here, it automatically generates one for you based on your email. In my case, I'm going to set it up this way, and it appears like this. Now we also need to set a password that has between 8 and 32 characters, including numbers, uppercase and lowercase letters, and a symbol, either a hashtag, as you might call it, a $sign, or an exclamation mark. So we can enter the password here, and in this case, I just need to add the symbol. Let's see, which one should we use? Here we go. There is all set. So as you can see, it shows you a check mark for what's still missing. We already have the required number of characters. We have uppercase and lowercase letters and the symbol. Now we just need to accept the terms and conditions and agree to how the information will be used. Depending on the country you're in, you'll see eToro and eToro UK, eToro Seychelles, eToro different sites where they are regulated. So in this case, we'll be accepting the terms of eToro Seychelles. And here we click where it says create an account. And that's it. The account will be created. And just like that, we already have our account set up. You might be thinking, what, is it really that fast? But when I've signed up with other brokers, it's super slow. And yes, but also no. We've already created the account itself. We already have a way to log in, but now we still need to do this. Collect data in order to fully activate our account. We click where it says, let's go. And now it actually starts asking us for information. So what is our legal name? What is our gender? What is our date of birth? So let's start filling this out, and we'll just enter any name really. This is just an example for you. So if you don't have a middle name, you just enter your last name, like Rodrigo Rodriguez. And here for gender, we select male in this case. And for the date of birth, you can enter any date as long as you're of legal age in your country. In most of Latin America, that's 18 years old. So for example, we put the 24th of January, 1992, and then click next. Now it starts loading for you. Next, it asks for your address and country of residence. This is very important, but wait, please hold on. Stop right there. Do not enter it just yet. Instead, you should do the following. Go to your bank, access your personal bank account, obtain a document from that bank account, and carefully check what address is listed as your residence. Or if you prefer, you can also look for a bill or invoice from your phone company or anything else like your internet provider or something similar, because later on they're going to ask us for it. But what exactly happens? The specific address we enter here must precisely match the address that appears on the official bill or the crucial document we'll be submitting later. So in this particular case, we're just going to simply enter any address. For example, Carrera, like this. I'll leave this one. And here it says that I need to enter the building number, input my city, and provide the postal code. So here we'll put it like this. For the number, we'll enter 25. And for the city, in my case, we'll put Bogota. This is how it looks for now. Let's say here you have to enter the exact address. And I recommend you do. For example, here, in some countries, the naming conventions or addresses change, and each person might create them differently. In Colombia, it works like this. You write KR, which is the same as Carrera, but on your bill or invoice, it might say KR instead. So write KR, not Carrera. Because otherwise, when you submit documentation, they'll say addresses don't match. This is because in the US, UK, Seychelles, or wherever they verify it, it doesn't work the same way and they won't understand. Next, it says, this is my country of nationality and where I was born. If not, just uncheck it. For example, if you're living in Colombia but you were born in Russia, then you indicate that here. Next, I am not a US person and I was not born in the United States. It's important that you check this and be honest, because otherwise certain taxes could apply to you. So in our case, we are not. We click next, and here it will ask us for our passport number. This is to verify our identity, so we have to enter the number. I'm just gonna enter any number here, honestly, so I can click next and keep showing you what comes up. Next, here we have a questionnaire that will help you, or rather, will help eToro determine what level of investor you are, whether you've invested before or not, and if you have any experience. And based on this, they might send you some emails or messages recommending some educational resources or courses they offer. So, well, here it says, how many times have you traded stocks or ETFs? Less than 10, 10 to 20, more than 20, or you haven't done it. In our case, let's select more than 20. How many times have you traded cryptocurrencies? Let's choose 10 to 20 here and click next. Once we click next, it asks how many trades you have made using leverage. So this refers to trades with CFDs, options, currencies, etc. during the past year. In this particular case, we're going to say that we haven't done it, that we haven't used leverage. Also remember that this questionnaire, as it actually says here, will determine the products they can offer us. If we haven't done it, the leverage they offer us would probably be very low, or they might not offer us leverage at all. Let's click next. And here it says, how have you been educated about leverage products, CFDs, futures? So if I have some kind of certificate, if I have an academic degree, if I have taken a trading course, or if I simply have no training in this, we're going to select that one. We click next. It says, we'd like to assess your understanding. It says, mark correct statements. I invest $1,000 with leverage of 20 to 1 to... Well, these are general questions. We're not going to dwell on these too much. You might get some questions. Just answer them and click next. Once we've answered, we'll select your interest to personalize your experience. So what do we want to invest in? In stocks, indices, crypto, commodities, currencies. This time I'm just going to select stocks and indices to see what comes up. Next, how long do you plan to keep this copy trade open? This is in case we do copy trading, which is to copy other investors, and we can set it from a few seconds to a few weeks up to 3 months. Well, that's up to you. Let's leave it at more than several months, even years. And we click next. Remember that the information I'm entering here is fictitious because it's not even me. I'm just showing you how you could register. And what I select is not necessarily what you should select, because this really depends on your own situation, on how you have invested, if you have invested before, if you have investment education or not. It says, which of the following options best describes your main objective for investing with us? Whether we want short-term returns, additional income, future planning, or saving to buy a house. Let's choose additional income. Remember, you can choose something else. Next, how much do we plan to deposit into our account? Let's say between $20,000 and $50,000. And it says over the course of this year. Remember, we're not thinking 10 years from now. It's specifically this year. And let's click next. Once we click next, it says, which risk-reward ratio best describes your expectations? So could we gain 80% but also risk losing 80%? Could we gain 40% but also risk losing 20%? Or do we prefer to gain a little and lose a little? That already depends. Let's select this one here. And for example, they give us the case. I expect to earn up to $40,000 while risking up to same $40,000. This means having a high level of risk in this case. Let's click next. And then it says, I or any of my immediate family members are an administrator, shareholder, or employee of a brokerage firm, a stock exchange, or a high-level public official. And in my case, I do not identify with any of these statements. Next, what are your main sources of funding? That is, where do you get the money to deposit into eToro? I'm going to select salary, investments, savings, and that's it. Next, what is your main occupation? Here, we have to indicate what we do for a living. Let's select public relations and enter the name of our employer. That is the company we work for. If we don't work for any company, let's just enter our own name. So here it was Rodrigo Rodriguez, what we entered at the beginning, and that's it. Now, what is our annual income level? That is, how much can we earn in a year? So let's select 50,000 to 200,000. And what is your total cash and liquid assets? In other words, the money you have right now that you can withdraw, take out, and spend on whatever you want. Let's also select 200,000 to 500,000 and then click next. Done. We're almost finished here, and it says CFDs are not appropriate for you. So based on this, it says, according to the information you have provided, it is unlikely that you fully understand the risks associated with complex products, and as such, the CFD products offered on our platform are not appropriate for you. We recommend that you seriously consider whether you want to proceed with investing in this type of product. CFDs are complex instruments and carry a high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. Then, if you decide to continue and open an account with us, you confirm that you are aware of and understand the associated risks. If, after considering this, you still wish to proceed, we urge you to do so only after familiarizing yourself with the virtual platform and reviewing the educational material and our risk statement. You may also be interested in seeking independent advice. This means that we won't be able to invest in CFDs now, but what they're telling us is that according to our level of knowledge and the survey, we don't meet the required level to properly invest in CFDs. Let's click confirm. And now it asks us for the following, which is to start investing. Depending on the country you are in, the minimum first deposit can be either $150 or $200. And from the second deposit onward, the minimum is usually $50. In other words, for your first deposit, it has to be above $200 no matter what. Then starting from the second, third, fourth, fifth deposit and so on, you can deposit $50. That will be the minimum. When it comes to investing, or rather when it comes to depositing, there are several things they offer us. First, getting a verification badge on eToro, which shows that we are actual investors. Then we remove the deposit limitations. For example, as you can see, with our first deposit, we're allowed to invest 2,000 euros, but after that, we can't invest more unless we make this initial deposit. And then we can make faster withdrawals. We can either make a deposit directly or go to this section that says complete verification, which is where we're gonna go. And you've probably thought, no, but I already finished this verification, but actually you haven't. Why? Because if you notice here, we have a percentage that tells us what level of, let's say, completion we have on this form. We're missing 20%. The 20% is basically just the last thing we have to do. Let's put any number here. If it asks for a code, I think it will ask for a code. Let's check. No, it's not letting proceed because as expected, it's asking for a code. So I'm going to enter a phone number here so I can receive a code. And once I get it, we'll continue with this. All right, once we've entered our phone number, we move on to the next step, which is identity verification. What? This means we have to verify our identity with a passport or an ID document. The passport, well, that's the one we use to travel around the world. The ID document can be from your country. For example, if you're in Mexico, it could be the INA or IFA, and in Chile and Colombia, it's the cédula. In many countries, it's also called cédula or DNI, the national identity document. You upload it here and that's it. Then it will ask you for different documents, and we'll leave it at that for now, but basically it will ask you for a bank certificate and a bill from a utility service like internet or something similar. Other than that, it won't ask you for anything else. Now, what happens? Maybe you send these documents and it still shows that verification is pending and that they will verify them in a few days, but time goes by and nothing happens and they still haven't verified them. So to speed this up, what you can do is make a first deposit. I recommend you do it with the minimum amount. Later on, I'll upload a video on how to make deposits in eToro. For example, make it for 200 euros, which is the minimum they require. Once you make the deposit, the verification of your account will speed up because by depositing, they realize that you are a real person who actually wants to invest in eToro. And once you're verified, you can start depositing more and all your documents and everything will be fully verified. But basically, this is the entire process you need to follow to register on eToro.